Hello, everybody. This is Alia Jamal, the love coach, and today we are meeting for another love circle. And today we are talking about motivation. So, the title I gave to this talk, this conversation, this love circle is Bye Bye Motivation. And one thing that I really like, my goal for this teaching is to bring you all to a point where you don't need motivation anymore, where you don't need inspiration anymore. It might be a little advanced for some of you, but if you have the step, I know that you can follow them on your own pace and you can really create a life where you don't need motivation every single day. So let's first get into what is motivation. So motivation is pretty much like a force, energy that pushes you forward. And when we are going through a lot of stuff in our life, when maybe you're going through a down spiral, you're going through some downtime, emotions are all over the place. We need that external push, which we call motivation, to help us move forward and get unstuck. So, what we usually do, we'll listen to a motivational speaker and they are talking about, like, we all have a purpose and you need to get up and you can only save yourself. So, it's like, a lot of push, push, push. And then by the end of those 30 minutes, you'll be like, you know what? I'm going to decide to have a different day today. So, at the end, you feel motivated, but it's coming from an outside source because you don't have that energy within you to give to yourself. And that's why some people, they just listen to a motivational speech every single day. That's how they start their day, and they are always looking for that external motivation to push, 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 and keep pushing them. Now, why we want to get rid of that? That is a very good place to start. That is a wonderful place to start when you want, or when you have decided that you want to move in a different direction, you want to change your life's direction, or you have decided, this is what I want. So listening to somebody outside of you gets you motivated, gets you pumped, and you go, and it's easier to take those actions. Good as a beginner. But let's say if you want to live like that, where every day you have to listen to something before you can even make yourself do something, then it becomes an unhealthy relationship. What if you're on vacation and you don't have the motivational speech available that day? What you're going to do then? Are you just going to have a bad day? And some people do that. They're like, I'm not in my routine, I'm not having this morning stuff, so my day is all over the place. I have lived in that place. But what I want for you guys is to move to the next level. And that is where you really become the creator of your day, where you're not depending on anyone outside of you to having a beautiful day. So what if you're in a place where there's no cell phone service and you're just stuck with yourself? Maybe you decided to go on a vacation during summer in a cabin. There's no internet available. What you're going to do then in the morning? Maybe you took a book, you're going to read a few pages from the book, and that's going to give you a kick, that's going to give you motivation to feel that high within you. But again, it's not a sustainable way of living. It's wonderful to have routine, but depending on that routine to keep you sane, that's what we're going to talk about. And I'm also going to help you guys understand what motivation is deep down. What is really happening when you're listening to somebody else, and then all of a sudden, like, maybe 15 minutes ago you were like, today I'm just not going to get out of bed. After 15 minutes you're like, you know what? I'm not just going to get out of bed, but I'm going to clean my home. So what shifted in between that? Because if you understand these nuances, you get to control your life the way you want to do it. And that's what I am passionate about, is understanding those little differences and always asking questions. why this thing is benefiting me, what's happening beyond what I can see, what's happening energetically, what's happening psychologically. So I work on three different planes when I'm asking questions. So let's get into what really motivation is. Motivation is when you get control of the voice that's inside of you. When you are in control of that voice, you're always motivated. When you're not in control of that voice, that's when you're maybe, down, just sitting on the sofa, staring at the wall, not doing anything, not feeling motivated to do anything because you don't have control over that voice. And when you listen to someone else, their voice replaces your inner voice. And then that person is saying, especially if you're listening to, like, we have wonderful, wonderful motivational speaker. Like, if I, in those times when I needed that, I'll listen to Tony Robbins. Like, his stuff is like very energetic. You really get some energy from it. So that outside voice kind of replaces your voice, the voice that's telling you you're a total loser. And then you're able to act, get up, and act based on the power of that new voice that's within you. So in the beginning, when you're taking a new journey into self-development, you're just starting, you're just learning about what self-help is, what it's all about. Like, I can create my life on my own, I can change the direction of my life, I can make my own decisions or choices. When you're coming new to that, the best thing you can do is just listen to other people, because whatever has been within you up until now, depending on how old you are, whether you're 30, 40, 50, 60, or 70, if it has created the result that are in front of you, something else needs to come in your life to change those results, to create a new shift. For example, let's say somebody is 50-year-old, right? And they're like, I have been this way, and I know that, like, it's impossible to change me, and that's how I'm gonna stay. If that is their attitude, their life is gonna stay exactly where it is, because the thinking that have created that mess is not the thinking that's going to change that mess into something beautiful. We need to replace those thoughts. We need to replace that way of thinking. So let's say at the age of 50, if you decide, you know what, I'm going to change the way I think, I'm going to change what exists inside of me, the world inside of me, the thoughts that are in my head, I'm going to change all of that so I can create a different life. You'll be able to do it so fast. But first, you have to make the decision to change it. And if you're changing it, you can't rely on yourself at that point. You need to rely on somebody else. You need to rely on, like, listening to different authors, or reading different authors, or listening to motivational speeches. And, the more you put inside of you, the more you're replacing what's inside of you already. For example, if you struggle with your beliefs with, finances, money, prosperity, if you grew up with lack mindset, even though you have a lot of money, but you just always felt like there's not enough, even if you have, like, let's say, a 2 million in your savings account, but you always thought that's not enough, I need to bring more, more, more. If that's where you are, let's say you start listening to a book about prosperity. So my favorite book is You Too Can Be Prosperous by Robert Russell. Let's say you started listening to that book, and you started listening to that book every single day, every single day, every single day. Just within 1 week, your relationship with money is going to start shifting. What happened? The way you were thinking got replaced by Robert Russell. You took on to his beliefs. How come? Because your subconscious mind, it gets reprogrammed by repetition, because you were listening to something over and over and over. It got reprogrammed to thinking in a more abundant way. So you're going to look at your savings account and you're going to be like, oh my God, I have 2 million in there. And I live in an abundant universe. I'm gonna go out and have you know, the best vacation I ever wanted. I'm gonna go ahead and spend some of this money. And you're not even gonna feel afraid about it. You're not even gonna feel like, oh my God, I'm losing some. Because your beliefs have completely shifted because you listen to somebody over and over and over. So your internal voice changed to somebody of higher belief system. That's where we all start. But where it becomes problematic, where we don't create that change within us. So whenever we go down, we always need something external. We either need to talk to a friend, we either need to read a book, or we either need to listen to somebody. Yes, we all can do that. Nothing wrong with that. But then where is your trust within yourself that I am enough in my own being? It is a higher level of development that I'm talking about. And that is what I'm inviting all of you to aim for, where you become independent in owning that voice within you, that you can motivate yourself out of bed to be able to do anything you want, and you're not depending on those external resources all the time or for the rest of your life. Yes, you'll be always learning, you'll be always growing, but not depending on them, reaching out to them to learn more. But we need to create a foundation within ourselves that's going to keep us motivated on autopilot. So, what would happen? Things that are in our subconscious mind, they would shift in a way that you're not looking for that motivation outside of you. And this is a way of being that I didn't even know it existed till I met with my current mentor, which is David Nagel. And one day he taught us about inspiration. And he was like, if you need inspiration every single day, you might as well quit now. That was the lesson he taught. And it really opened a different world to me, that, oh my God, I always thought I need inspiration. Like, I would be looking for inspiration. Like, where can I get inspired or motivated today? So that opened up a window for me to build a completely new muscle, to exercise it, that I can motivate myself every single day. Once I did that work, now I'm telling you guys the story. So to share with you, like, how valuable it is to build that muscle within you, where you're motivated all by yourself. Once I worked on that within me, I can have the craziest, hardest day in terms of emotions, in terms of, like, parenting challenges. No matter what's going on, I could be sick, but I don't need inspiration to do the things that I need to do in my life, in my purpose, in my business. It's almost like, oh, it's not even negotiable, because I don't need somebody to motivate me anymore. I'm not going to just lay down on the bed and never come out, and I need to listen to something just to get out of bed. I used to be there, not anymore. So this is a place of inner freedom where I'm taking you guys. And I really hope you guys are enjoying and understanding. If you have any question, hop onto the Zoom link. If you're watching us live, if you're watching recording, please send your questions to me. I would love to answer them, because I really want you to understand this level of inner freedom. Okay, so why we need motivation? Why do we even need motivation in our life? So all of us, we are born to do something very unique. I have my own unique set of gifts. You, each and every one of you, have your unique set of gifts. And what end up happening, we go into a human life cycle, and that is, growing older, getting married, having kids, having a solid career. We go into the human life cycle, and we completely forget about purpose. So the past two love circles that I have done, they kind of led up to the point where we are right now. And that purpose is not going to come out of you unless this kind of internal motivation wakes up. Let's say if you went to graduate school, right? When you were going through graduate school, like I just had a conversation with somebody who's a pharmacist and they want to switch to medical school. So in that process, they're going to need a little bit of motivation to make that switch, right? To stay motivated that, like, I need this, I need this. But if, let's say, becoming a doctor is their life purpose, they would have known it from a very young age. They're not going to need any motivation to even study and do, like, crazy, crazy hours that doctors do to go through that training to even get to that level so they can provide all kind of amazing services to us. They are not going to need that kind of motivation. And I am sure each and every one of us know at least one doctor who became a doctor right in front of us, and they had that kind of motivation. And when they are there, they're like, I am born to do this. That's what I'm talking about. We all are born to do something. And in order to get to that something, we need to come to a place where we don't need external motivation. When you are internally motivated, that's when you're going to know, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, I don't have to motivate myself to teach people about unconditional self-love. I don't. It's so natural. It just comes through me. And every time I'm doing it, it's like I am born to do this. That is the feeling I experience. So we all need motivation to get to that part of us that came here to do something. And we can get there when the motivation becomes internal. And in order for us to separate from what we were told to be versus who we want to be, that is the switch that we're going to go through. So there is a voice within you. There's a voice within us all the time. One day I did, I think I did a reel on it, how there's a voice, and somebody who had, like, maybe some kind of um, psychological degree or something, and they wrote underneath, if you have voices in your head, you're schizophrenic. And I was like, have you met like regular people? Have you met a woman ever? We have a voice in our head that's just talking all the time, all the time. Look at her clothes. She's better than you. Like, your clothes are not better, your lipstick color is not good, her purse is more beautiful than yours. It's always talking. Like, when my clients, they go through an experience that I teach them how to quiet that voice, they're like, oh my God, there's nothing in my head. So that is the voice I'm talking about. Now that voice, it has 3 different distinct characteristics. So I would say there's 3 voices in our head if we really pay close attention to. One is the voice of fear. The second is the voice of others. And the third is voice of our higher self. Now, voice of fear would always tell you, don't go that way. It's built in biologically. We need to bring our intellect to it and look at it. Is it real danger or is it just perceived danger? For example, sometimes we don't have very healthy relationships with our extended family. And, in-laws would be the biggest, I think, thing that comes to our mind when we think about that. So sometimes the mother-in-law becomes the fear. We don't want to meet with her. We don't want to connect with her because we're just afraid. But is that fear real? No, it's not. That is just a perceived fear. It's just another human being who's not going to do anything to you. Would the most they would do is like talk bad about you? So what? If you have built your self-esteem, you're not going to be afraid of that. So the voice of fear would say, like, don't do this, don't go meet her. But that's where you bring your intellect. Is it a real fear or just a perceived fear? If it's a real fear, just act on it. The second one, voice of others. When voice of others overtakes you, overpowers you, that's when you're on the floor crying on your 4 knees and you need motivation. That is the voice that's talking to you all time, nonstop, telling you all the things that are wrong with you. So once that voice overpowers you, that's when you're like, I need motivation. And that is when you would listen to a motivational speaker, would get replaced temporarily. You'll get up, you'll do the chores that you need to do, maybe take a shower, maybe eat some food. And then what happened? Over time, you go back down to that voice of others taking over you. And then next day you wake up, you're like, I need to listen to this motivational speaker again so I can get hyped up, so I can just get over this hump. So then in long term, you feel like you're dependent on an outside source to just even get yourself out of bed. But the third voice is voice of your higher self. Now that is a voice that we are not taught to connect with. And that is the voice that we all need to connect. And that is the voice that is going to bring unlimited motivation to you all the time, on demand, any place, anywhere. And that is the piece that I really want to emphasize on today. Now, the way this voice of higher self talk to us, it's very directed. It's very loving. It's very kind. It does not sit there and have tea with you. It's not going to sit there and going to talk to you for like 1,000 hours, or it's going to lecture you. It's just going to direct you. Go there. Do that. Comes as a hunch sometimes. Some people say, oh, that is my intuition talking. However you connect with it, that is the voice that's telling you, go this way, do this, go have fun. It's very kind, very loving. It's always directing you in a direction. Now, I'll share with you how to connect with that voice more. Ideally, if we learn to disconnect from voice of others, and if we learn how to nurture and connect and hear the voice of our higher self at all times, you're never gonna need motivation or inspiration again in your life. Ever. It sounds, too good to be true, but that is the transformation that you're gonna go through when you're gonna put yourself out there to connect with this voice. Where you be like, I just want my mind to be quiet. No other people living in my head, no mom and dad, no friends, no TV, no drama. Nobody's going to live in my head. It will be just me and my higher self. Once you come to that place in your transformation, you don't need any motivation. You don't need motivation to lose weight. You don't need motivation to go higher in your career or make more money. You don't need motivation to have a better relationship. You don't need motivation to get a bigger home. You can just do it because you feel that freedom within you. You don't feel like there are strings that are pulling you down and they are invisible. You're going to feel like you have big wings and you can fly anywhere you want. That's how it's going to feel like. And that is what real motivation that comes from within you feels like and look like. Okay. Now how do we nurture that? Like, how do we get to that point? So as I was saying, like the past two love circle have been the leading point to this conversation today. So the first thing that you need to know when you want to connect with that voice is be able to see your desire and be able to detect your desire. So do you desire having a bigger home? Do you desire helping other people? Do you desire to travel the world? Acknowledging that. There's so many women and men that I talk to, they don't even know what is their desire. They have no clue. All they know, I have a family, I want to provide for them, and I want to make sure I send my kids to college and retire early if possible with this much amount of money. That's life cycle, my friends. That's life cycle of a human. That is not a human purpose. So really paying attention to what do you desire in life? Giving yourself permission to have that desire, because When you are paying attention to your desire, you are already connecting to your higher self voice within you. Because what would have to happen, the other's voice have to quiet down when you're connecting with the desire. Because if you are connecting with desire and the other voice is right there, you're not even going to hear your desire. Then you're just going to hear, you know what, my mom really wanted me to be a doctor, and so that's what I'm going to do. That's not your desire. That's your parents' desire. That's their timeline. That's what they wanted for themselves. They couldn't get it, so they put it on their kids. Happens in a lot of cultures all the time. So the first thing that you need to do is connect with your desire. Sit down with a piece of paper, with a pen in your hand, and write down everything that you desire in life. Things small, things big. It could be like, I desire having spa day once a week. Right now, you might have never gone to a spa, but then that is a desire that you have. Maybe you want one of your desire is to go on a vacation without your kids if you're a mom. Put it down there. Have a desire dump on the paper. Do that. And then the second thing that you're going to do every single day in order for you to build and exercise that internal motivation muscle is asking yourself, what do you want? Now, again, it's a very, very, very simple question. Very simple question. But most of us don't have an answer to that. What is it that you really want in this life, in today, this week, this month, this year? What is it that you want? So the easiest thing would be when you wake up in the morning, first thing in the morning, just ask yourself, what do I want today? What is it that I really want today? And let the answer come to you. Now, that answer that's coming to you, it's going to be your higher self. The desire that's going to talk to you would be your higher self. So every day, actively, you're connecting with your higher self by asking yourself, what do I want? It could be like, I want to take a day off. Give yourself that day off. If you cannot give yourself that specific day, then plan another day as a day off. Give yourself what you really want. It's going to change everything in your life. If you start giving yourself what you want, you're never going to need motivation outside of you. Because you're going to feel so closer to yourself. You're not going to feel like someone else's voice got between you and you. When that gap is very close, when you and you are very together, no one can get through you. That's when you can build and do anything without any external motivation, because you start to become your own rock. So ask yourself every single day, what do I want? And the third thing is that requires a lot of practice is really mastering to detect which one is your higher self voice and what is the voices of other people. Now, the guideline would be, it's very loving, it's very kind. Sometimes I noticed this, I've noticed it in the past within myself, and I noticed this within my clients too. There's a voice inside of us that kicks your butt. It's very loving and kind. It wants all the good stuff for you, but it would be like, what's wrong with you? Are you going to sit here and cry just because of a boy who doesn't want to talk to you? Get up, wash your face, get ready, go out, meet other people. So it's almost like a tough love kind of voice. That is not the voice of your higher self. It's not. It feels like it's your voice, and it feels like, it's voice of your higher self, but that tough love, kind of like my buddy in my head, is not your higher self. Your higher self is very directive, kind, does not argue with you, does not motivate you. It doesn't do that. That's you doing to yourself, and it's based on all the voices you have heard from other people. And we are such good friends with that voice that sometimes we don't even want to let it go, because it has been with us in very dark times. It has motivated us in very dark times. So we're like, no, I don't want to let this voice go. You don't have to let go anything. You just need to become more aware of the higher self voice amongst all the noise. You know, if there's a lot of instrument playing, if you're going to an if you are listening to orchestra, and somebody tells you, can you tell the violin sound in there? Even though at that time you're listening to the whole music as a whole, but right away your ears can tell, oh yeah, I can follow the note of that one instrument. That is what I'm talking about. In all the things that you hear in your head, once you start connecting with the voice of your higher self in there, you're not going to need motivation from other people, because you'll be able to. So, what this does, desire, what do you want, having a better understanding or connection with your higher self, it plugs you into a kind of energy, which is energy of your soul, which is the force that keeps you alive. You kind of get plugged in, tuned in. You're so in your center that you're unstoppable, and you're not going to need external validation. You're not going to need external motivation. So when we come in alignment like that, our desire, what I want, and always paying attention to the voice of higher self amidst the noise in our head, it plugs you into something that's bigger than your body. And once you're plugged in, you're motivated all the time. So I really hope that, you know, this conversation has opened up some awareness within you and some desire to really build yourself up to a point where you don't need that motivation from outside of you, where you become the driving force of your life. Of course, you would always have teachers, you would be always learning. I always have coaches, worked with multiple coaches at a time, but I am learning how to be more and more and more free within me while I'm learning all the different ways of being at the same time. But in the long run, it really pays off when you are responsible for your motivation within you. Now, if you have any questions, I'm going to check on the Facebook as well. But if you have any question, hop onto the Zoom link so we can have a live chat over here. And if you are watching the recording, please respond to the email, ask any question, reach out to me in Messenger. And if you feel like this is how you want to grow within you, let's have a conversation. I'm just adding S at the end of everything today. Let's have a conversation and see what we can, do. Like, what is it that needs to shift within you to get to that level? I would love to have that conversation with you. So please reach out to me if you have any question or if you're ready to grow to this level. So that is all for today. I'm going to stop the recording.